Like, subscribe, comment. It helps out with the algorithm. Let's go.
Joining us now from West Palm Beach, Corey Lewandowski, who was Donald Trump's first campaign manager in 2016 and now has joined the campaign as a top official. Welcome. How do you see the debate, Corey? You say Kamala Harris is an easier opponent than 81-year-old Joe Biden, but she's 59. She's clearly energized her party and improved her standing over Biden's.
Yeah, but Howie, here's the difference. She can run from the Biden administration and the failures that she's been part of, but she can't hide. And we can go back and look at her tenure, whether it was the attorney general time or when she was in the U.S. Senate or now as the vice presidency. She's never been a leader. She should not be promoted. She's continuously changed her position. Some say lie about her positions when it comes to the border wall or when it comes to fracking or when it comes to no tax on tips. She continuously takes over the Trump agenda on the positions that Donald Trump has, that he's articulated to the American people, because she knows that the agenda that she and her boss, Joe Biden, and her running mate, Tim Walz, have are so outside of the mainstream that she's unelectable because of it.
Well,
Okay, so I don't know if when he said she could run but she can't hide, if that was like a double entendre. Because if it was, that was pretty clever, right? But if he's saying that she can't, like she can run but she can't hide, like what is she running from? She's clearly in the race. Like, but I think it was a double entendre though. But
if you talk about changing positions, and Donald Trump has criticized Florida's 6-week abortion ban. He's also said another Trump term would be good for women and reproductive rights. I know that's sparked some backlash from pro-life groups. And he says that either the government or insurance companies should pay for IVF treatments, and he favors now decriminalization of marijuana. Those are pretty clear signs he's moving toward the center.
Yeah, but Howie, look, those are positions that most of the American people aren't voting on. Look, they're voting on crime, they're voting on national security issues, and most importantly, Howie, the number one issue we continue to see is the economy. And it's always the case. And the question you have to ask yourself, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And it relates to the issue of pro-life. Donald Trump appointed 3 pro-life judges that are sitting on the Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade, so it goes back to the states. And so these states now decide through the elections what those laws are going to look like. And what happens in Kansas and Ohio may be very different than what happens in a state like New York or Arizona.
Sure.
So look, the states are the laboratories of democracy, and all Donald Trump has done is give the people the opportunity to vote on how they want to govern themselves, and that's how the system's supposed to work.
Well, Kamala Harris, who's also moving toward the center, insists that Trump will sign a national abortion ban when he's explicitly said he would not.
Well, of course she says that, because the only issue she has to run on is the issue of life. And we know the Democrats' position, and particularly Tim Walz's position, is equal to infanticide, which is death up until 40 weeks, death after the baby is born. That's so outside the realm of mainstream America. What Donald Trump has said is he's in favor of the 3 exceptions, rape, incest, and life of the mother, which I think most of the people in America agree with. But the Democrats are so extreme on this issue, and that's the only issue they want to run on, because they're running from their record, Howie. They have nothing to stand on to make Americans' lives better.
Well, Kamala Harris has also flipped on banning of plastic straws. I just wanted to get that in there. But she just tweeted, the vice president said that Trump will end the Affordable Care Act. Is that his position?
Of course not. Listen, again, what is Kamala Harris for? From our estimation, we have done, since Kamala Harris has been the de facto nominee, 34 sit-down interviews or press conferences where Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have answered questions. You know, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have done exactly one. She spoke for just under 17 minutes. There was really no pushback during that interview. Tim Walz's answer of why he lied about carrying a gun into a war zone was because he has bad grammar. And the only thing that Kamala Harris could say was that the Biden administration didn't ban fracking, even though she said she would do it on day one. The difference is, as the vice president, she didn't have the ability to do it. I believe we should listen to what she says. She wants to ban fracking. That will be devastating to the people of Pennsylvania.
Well, I asked because
okay, let's just quickly look at her economic stance. So she prioritizes electric vehicles. Wow. Okay, Trump. Wait, what? Trump says that electric vehicles are a threat to the auto industry, but I thought that he was rocking with Elon Musk. Like, what? What? So does that mean that he's just taking his money and then, huh? Anyone else? Okay, anyone else see this? Electric vehicles. There's no way that he's saying that because Tesla is like the biggest electric vehicle manufacturer in the United States, possibly even the world. Okay, let's see. Encouraging new construction, push for affordable housing. Okay. No benefit cuts. Well, they're similar on that. Taxes, unwind some. Damn, he wants to raise the corporate tax. And then Trump wants to lower it. So, okay, we have to be real in this. If they raise the taxes, then they'll be able to do more things as far as like affordable housing goes and like government funded programs if they're operating ethically. If Trump actually extends the tax cuts and he makes the tax cuts lower, so like let's say, because I read that he wanted to decrease the corporate tax from like 18%, I think, or he wanted to decrease it to like 16% from 21%. So that means that just the rich people are just going to get richer. And is that good for the economy? I don't know. You guys tell me below. And trade, no across the board tariffs. The Biden administration has opposed across the board tariffs, but some favored some targeted tariffs such as steel and aluminum from China, accusing the country of unfair trade. Damn, so he's just trying to. Yeah, he doesn't want anything. He doesn't want any imports. Okay.
Donald Trump was president, he did try to get rid of Obamacare, but I think he's moved on from that. So I wanted to clarify. Dick Cheney, once known as Darth Vader, Mr. Weapons of Mass Destruction, says he's voting for Kamala Harris because he says Trump is the greatest threat to democracy in American history. Is that a setback for your campaign?
Look, it's not a setback. And look, here's the bottom line. I don't understand this notion that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. He went through a competitive primary process on 2 separate occasions, including this year. He won more votes than any candidate in the history of the Republican Party. The people have chosen him to be the nominee. And you look at what Kamala Harris has done. She has been anointed by the Democrats, never went through the process, kicked Joe Biden off the ballot because we saw his terrible debate performance that Donald Trump completely destroyed him on. And so the real threat to democracy, you remember this, Howie, they tried to keep Donald Trump off the ballot in some of these battleground states. That's a threat to democracy. And the Supreme Court, even the liberal justices came and said, you can't do that. Kamala Harris has just been anointed to be the Democrat, never went through the primary process, didn't get any votes. That's really what this is about. We have a process to go through which allows individuals to vote on who their nominee should be, and she completely bypassed it because her radical ideas are so far out of the mainstream that she couldn't even win a primary. Look, I believe if the system was fair, RFK Jr. probably would have been the Democratic nominee, but they did everything they could to keep him off the ballot.
You think he would have been the Democratic nominee? That's an interesting take. So you're not particularly concerned about Dick Cheney, representing the old Republican Party, I guess you would say.
So, by the way, when he's talking about she got anointed, some people are just blessed and highly favored like that. She just got it like that.
Well, he's clearly the old guard, the guard that, the country club Republicans that don't support Donald Trump because he's for what we used to call the blue dog Democrats, which are the electricians and the plumbers and the pipe fitters and the workers who go out every day to earn a living, whose jobs are being decimated by these illegal aliens who are coming across the border. Some say, Howie, as many as 20 million in the last 4 years. We know that at least 100 people on the terror watch list have come through this country. They're taking jobs from these people, these great Americans who are tradesmen. And so, look, I don't really care what Dick Cheney says. We saw what happened to Liz Cheney in her last election. She was absolutely destroyed. The people said, you don't represent us anymore. So they're bitter and they're angry and they're living in the past. It's time to move forward.
Your campaign raised $130 million last month. Pretty impressive. But the Harris campaign tripled that with $361 million. Doesn't that put you at a serious disadvantage when it
You got some work to do, my boy.
comes to organizing and the ground game?
Howie, what we have is we've got an amazing campaign right now. We've got a fantastic ground game. I've reviewed it. I've looked at it. I feel very good about where we are. And more than that, we know that, these
How do you feel very good about where you are if they've raised triple the amount of funds that you've raised?
these unions that traditionally turn their voters out for the Democrats,
And where Elon Musk, where's his donations coming from? So is he just Elon Musk must just be like promoting with his words and through his social media platform, but not really with his dollars like that.
than maybe
Which would make sense because Trump is not for the electric vehicles, and that's basically what Elon Musk stands for.
teachers union have no opportunity anymore because the rank and file are with Donald Trump. They want their jobs protected. They want their jobs to continue to grow, their wages to continue to grow. And they know the only way to do that is if Donald Trump is elected president of the United States. So, the traditional turnout model that the Democrats have used, which are the big unions turning their voters out, the rank and file are no longer with them. So we feel very good about where we are. We also know that most of the mainstream media is going to continue to hype up the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign. They want to tell everyone how she's a savior. Is she complicit, or was she just naive to what was going on during Joe Biden's 3.5 years of mental decline? There's been no questions about it. She hasn't answered any of those questions. It's time to hold her accountable for it. I feel very good about where we are. And historically speaking, from a strictly...
Wait, but what does she have to do with his mental decline? That's his problem. Like,
empirical data point, we are in the best position that Donald Trump has ever been in from the public polls to be successful come November.
It's a very tight race. Even some Republicans who support Trump, Corey, say he needs to be more disciplined, stop calling Harris dumb, or wandering off at rallies talking about sharks. You've always been sort of the let Trump be Trump camp. What do you think?
Look, I don't think we have time. We just don't have time for political correctness. We literally have a woman and an administration that's destroying this country. And if we have another 4 years under a Harris-Walz administration and it's anything similar to the Biden-Harris administration, we'll have 20 more illegals pouring into this country. We'll have gas prices that are probably 80 cents more a gallon. We'll have energy costs that we can't sustain. We'll have our food costs, which are out of control. And every American will suffer under it. So we've got a very short window. We've got about 58 days left in this campaign before the voting ends. And we have to make sure that everybody who's concerned about the future of this country and our allies around the world will respect us once again if Donald Trump is the president, and our enemies will fear us. That's not the case right now. We're a laughingstock, and it's time to get back to business.
Corey, coming up on a break, but Kamala Harris and the Democrats keep warning about Project 2025, the Heritage Project. Even though Donald Trump says he had nothing to do with it, it is staffed by many of his former staffers, and found parts of it abysmal. Yet that seems to be a big talking point for the Dems.
Well, it's because they have nothing else to talk about. What they don't want to talk about is CAP, which is the Center for American Progress. They've got 63 members of that organization inside the Biden-Harris administration. They are for taxpayer-funded reparations. They are for some of the most extreme surgeries, particularly as it comes to transgender surgeries, for children and not notifying their parents. So, when does the and Kamala Harris has said that the CEO of that organization is phenomenal, the best. They're doing great work. Donald Trump has disavowed anything to do with Project 2025, but no one's holding the Harris-Walz-Biden team accountable for their support from CAP, the CAP guys, who want to use taxpayer-funded reparations, and they want to make sure that children under the age of 12 can have sex change surgery without ever notifying their parents. To me, that's disgusting.
More with Corey Lewandowski in a moment as we look at how he's dealing with the media.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
all right, y'all subscribe, like, comment for the next reaction. Peace.